guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a book review on Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. It took me a long time to pick up this book because I am such a weenie when it comes to anything scary or horror. From the look of this book looks really creepy, and if you kind of skim through, there are a whole bunch of pictures in this book that kind of have that eerie, creepy effect to it, especially with the whole black and white. So for a long time I kind of just stayed away from it, and I'm really sad that it took me so long to pick up this book because I have to say this book is fantastic. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars for multiple reasons. It's creative, it's original, there are twists and turns, the characters are lovable, just so many great things about this book. This book review will be mostly spoiler free, but I will let you know if I get into any spoilers. I would say my number one recommendation before picking up this book is to just go into it blind. You can read the synopsis on the back. The synopsis really doesn't give you much. Basically, it tells you that we follow a main character, Jacob. He is, I believe, 16 or 17 years old, and one night he goes through a tragedy and he ends up going to this little island off of Wales where he comes across an abandoned orphanage home that is in ruins. And in this home he comes across some of these creepy pictures, and these are pictures of children that were part of Miss Peregrine's orphanage home. Basically, Jacob grew up with his grandfather telling him all of these tales about these peculiar children, and he realizes that maybe his grandfather's stories were actually real, and there's a possibility that these children may still be alive. So that's kind of a quick, brief synopsis. I highly recommend not digging too much more into the synopsis because it's really going to ruin some of the creative elements and the originality of the book, especially since the plot is very intricate and it's different, and there's really no way to explain it without kind of spoiling it. Now, if you really do want to know more about the story, you want to know like a true synopsis of the book, I'll go ahead and give it to you, but I highly recommend muting this part. It will have a little bit of spoilers to the plot of the story, but not the ending of the story. So as I said, Jacob grew up with his grandfather telling him all of these stories about these peculiar children. The story starts with his grandfather getting murdered. Jacob sees this creature lurking in the woods where his grandfather is killed. As his grandfather is dying, he whispers to Jacob to go to this little island off the coast of Wales. So Jacob ends up going to this island with his father to get closure from his grandfather's death. There he comes across a ruined orphanage that was home to Miss Peregrine's home and her children. Now, these children were killed in the air raids on September 3rd, 1940, and Jacob pretty much finds himself going back into time to 1940, where he meets Miss Peregrine's and all of her peculiar children. Okay, so that's pretty much for kind of a spoiler synopsis without giving away true spoilers to the book. As I mentioned, talking about the plot, I give its creativity a 5 out of 5 stars, along with its originality a 5 out of 5 stars. The plot is well paced, and you really can picture what it is that Ransom Riggs wants you to see. His description is amazing. You can really see Miss Peregrine's home, and what I love is the way he brings these photos into the story. Some of these photos are really creepy, and I just love how he puts it into the story. And although the story has some eeriness to it, a little creep effect, it's still pretty like lively, and a tad whimsical when you're with Miss Peregrine's and her children. I can picture vivid colors. I'm really excited for the movie. I think Tim Burton's going to do an amazing job of creating the atmosphere of Miss Peregrine's home. There's also amazing character development. This book is written in Jacob's first-person point of view, and he does have really excellent character development. At the beginning, he's this timid, scared boy, but he's also fairly brave, even though he doesn't think he's brave and he thinks he needs, you know, pretty much a bodyguard as a friend. He's got one friend, Ricky, who is like this huge guy, and he uses him as his bodyguard. Jacob is actually fairly brave. I mean, he explores this island by himself. He does things that takes courage, and he really starts to care about more than himself. Not that he ever just cared about himself, but he starts to learn that the world is more than it seems, and it's not just black and white. One of our main peculiar children is Emma. Emma is fantastic. She is smart, she's tough, she is courageous and brave, and she wants more out of life, which I really love. I think her and Jacob complement each other really well. I have to say my favorite peculiar children is Millard. He is so funny. He's got the perfect amount of humor, and he just adds this great comedic relief. I'm not going to tell you as to why these children are peculiar. I think that is one thing that needs to be revealed when you read the book. Okay, I'm just going to talk really quickly about a few spoilers. So if you have not read this book, I highly recommend to go read it if you want something that is very different and creative. And what is it that they say at the back of the book? Whoa. Photographs and text work together brilliantly, create an unforgettable story. It's tense, moving, wondrous, and strange first novel. Pretty much, I agree, and go read this book. Okay, jumping into a few spoilers. I like the romance developing between Emma and Jacob, but and I like that it's not too insta-love. I mean, it's really strange, but I also love it, the fact that Emma and his grandfather had like a romance going. It seems weird, but I really love Emma and Jacob together. I really enjoy what Ransom Riggs created as far as the hollows and the whites, right? I also think it's interesting to me that the kids are more scared of the hollows than of the whites. The whites are the ones that are evolved hollows after eating and killing peculiar children. So you would think they'd be more afraid of the whites, but I guess it's the hollows because they can't see them that they're so afraid of, which makes sense. I didn't see Jacob's abilities. I didn't see that coming. I mean, we knew from the beginning that he's able to see these hollows, but for it to be an actual peculiar ability is quite interesting. I like that. And then we have the story as to why their time loops were created and how hollows were created, which I think is very complex, and I'm really excited to see where that part of the story goes. And let's just talk about the ending for a sec, because the ending was crazy. I did not expect Miss Peregrine to get kidnapped, but then the kids got her back. And then Millard gets shot, and how do you stop an invisible boy from bleeding out? And the second Miss Peregrine turns into a bird, the time loop stops, which makes me wonder. So Miss Peregrine turns into a bird many times, and she's left the time loop a few times before. So why is it now that the time loop stops? Or does she always make it back in time to reset the loop? I'm a little confused about that. And then if the loop stops, then how come it just doesn't pretty much break apart and become present day? How is it still 1940, but I guess now time is moving forward again? I don't know. I'm really confused about that. I also really love the fact that Jacob ended up staying with the peculiar children and going on the next journey to help Miss Peregrine. I'm excited to see his relationship develop more with the rest of the children, and I'm kind of excited to see where him and Emma's relationship is gonna go. There is a lot to this story and a lot can happen, so I'm really excited to read the second book, which is Hollow City. Alright guys, well that is it for my book review on Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you next time. Bye!